here we go. Week 2. Um, Time to do some outlooking here. Got some fantasy stuff. Got the gambling show. All that fun stuff. Gonna hit a few games here that we're particularly interested in. Uh, Dom with me as always here.
Yes, sir.
All right, let's just dive right into it here. Bills Dolphins tonight.
Man,
Um,
it sucks that this is the first game of the week because I argue that it's probably going to be the best game of the week.
I agree with that. I think this one has a chance to be electric. A lot of points.
Yeah,
Um, I think if the Bills commit to the run a little bit more and just take the ball out of Tua's hands, because that defense did look a little shaky last week in Buffalo.
yeah.
Um, I think they have a chance to take that one down to Miami, but they're going to have to try to eat some clock and kind of keep Josh Allen under wraps just a little bit there. Nothing too crazy, because if they try to get into a shootout, that's going to be tough to keep up with for sure.
Oh, 100%. I mean, they did calm down a bit last week, defensively wise, in that second half, really holding Kyler. Greg Rousseau, he had 3 sacks. They named him AFC Defensive Player of the Week, so that's huge. So if they can keep up that and just really do what they did in the second half just throughout the game, I think they should get that win. But man, Miami's going to have that air raid offense, I feel, all day on that Buffalo secondary.
Yeah, that's the only thing that's scary is you got a 14-point lead against them at some point. They can 2 quick drives. I mean, you can hit. I mean, we saw it last week, 80 yards to
Last week, yeah,
Tyreek
100%.
Hill, and then right after that, you can go to Waddle on the next one too, and they're just burners on the outside. However, you and I were kind of looking at it earlier here. Let me just pull it up again real quick. Josh Allen in his last 5 games against the Dolphins, passing yards 359, 320, 352, 304, and 400. Uh,
Yeah,
he lights those dudes up. And the other interesting part in this, too, is Tua isn't great against playoff teams or just like teams with a winning record, but he's also 1-6 against the Bills.
which is absurd.
Yeah, just in general.
This is
Like, I mean,
insane. Yeah.
that is pretty wild to me that it's that lopsided. So this could be, a trap game for us kind of picking it at this point because everything
Yeah.
kind of tells you the Bills roll. But I until I see it, I'm still going to be on the Bills side of this one for sure.
Oh, 1,000,000%. I mean, the Bills are my pick for it all this year. I'm in. Enjoy them. I think Josh Allen's just going to continue to prove himself. So, what's another 350-yard game against the Dolphins this week?
Fair enough. Yeah, I'm totally yards. How many is he going to run for at some point too?
Yeah,
Just run
exactly.
through
It's just going to
somebody.
be it's going to be nuts. So if you guys couldn't tell, we're both taking the Bills in this one if we had to choose.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. Um, let's do another game with. I think this is just a game with a lot of noise more than anything. Uh,
Yeah.
Bengals Chiefs. Um,
Yeah, I mean,
this is a
there,
weird
there's
spot.
there's there's a lot of questions that are coming out of this game. One is T. Higgins going to play? If T. Higgins plays, Joe Burrow has all his weapons to his arsenal. Two, is Joe Burrow actually healthy?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I
That's
mean
some
that clip in the water
major
bottle.
question at
We
this
talked
point.
about it before too. It's just like that wrist is questionable right
Yeah,
now.
yeah, dude. I messed up my wrist last night. I went to do some push-ups this morning. It didn't go my way. So I can only imagine what he feels like. I
Yeah, I
can't
don't
throw
know.
a ball 60 yards, so I don't know.
I mean, this might be a little bit of bias on my end to an extent, but like at some point in time, like if they come out here and get rolled too by the Chiefs, when is Joe Burrow going to take some heat? Because I mean, you got just about everybody else in this league for varying things gets
Yeah,
absolutely crushed uh, for bad
it's
performances, and
100%. Yeah,
He walks out and he's only missing. I mean, sorry, dude, you're missing T Higgins. You still have Jamar Chase on the outside, and he put up 10 points on the Patriots at home. Like, yeah, the Pats D is good still, but it's insane to me that he just gets a pass all the time.
yeah. I mean, it's kind of absurd.
No,
All because he had one amazing season thus far. Otherwise, he can't really stay healthy.
yeah,
I
it's,
mean,
he's
when
got
he's
this
on the
like
field
Kurt
and
Warner
healthy,
thing
he's
going
at
on.
yeah, yeah. When he's on the field and healthy, he's top five quarterback in the league. But man, he actually has to do it.
Yeah, he really does, and especially in September because like he's every year he digs himself a hole. And
Yeah,
last year was a little bit more. I feel like damning on him was they were 5-5, then he went down, and then they went 4-3 down the stretch without
yeah.
him. Like,
But it wasn't even Jacob Browning that was losing them games. That's the crazy part.
right?
So
Yeah, it's
how much of
they're
this is
weird.
really attributed then to Joe Burrow? Yeah,
Yeah. On the flip side, though, if Joe Burrow comes out and lights up the Chiefs and they end up winning that game, the noise is going to be insane on them.
yeah.
It's going to be so loud
Oh,
again.
it's gonna be Joe. Yeah, Joe Burrow's
Joe
elite,
Burrow
best
again,
quarterback.
Burrowhead, all that fun
Always
stuff.
beats. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
and
gonna be
I do
hilarious.
want to
No matter
see.
what, I'm in for it.
Oh yeah, it's going to be loud. I mean, I was watching this line too. I mean, this I think opened at like 6.5. It's down to 5. Like, there's just a lot coming in
Interesting.
on the Bengals here, which I think to an extent, like I probably would have hit it at 6.5 too. But there's just I don't know. I'm not buying the Bengals too much until I see it at this point, especially early in the season. Um,
Yeah,
on the Chiefs side of this, though, I do want to see if they're just going to kind of toy around again and just play with the new things that they have with Worthy. Hollywood's out again this week,
well,
right?
he's still questionable. I was taking a
Still
look at
questionable.
it just for numbers wise. He hasn't practiced. Well, he didn't practice yesterday. We'll see if he's out there today. If I had to guess, he's probably not suiting up this week. I mean, they really don't need him right now, if we're
Right.
being honest. It's not like since he has this crazy secondary where pushing all their pieces around the board is going to matter too much. I mean, you got Worthy that's going to burn him on the outside, Kelsey over the middle that's going to take away Logan Wilson, who's not going to cover him. Logan Wilson, again, great linebacker. He's just not going to cover Kelsey.
No.
Um, and then you got Rasheed Rice, who is the new Michael Thomas and just runs slants over the middle all day long.
Slant God. Just creating
So
space in the middle.
I don't know. I don't know if you saw his route tree last week. It was hilarious.
I think I saw some people talking about it. I don't think I actually saw the
Yeah,
actual.
it was so funny. It's just every other play he's going over the middle, and he's just taking them too. So it's just Michael Thomas 2.0.
Yeah, it is wild. They do have kind of like the perfect setup there right now in terms of weapons for
Yeah,
Mahomes.
for
And,
sure.
you just got the burners on the outside, and then sure hands coming across the middle, and then they have Pirine too that plays that kind of like Jarek McKinnon role.
Yeah, just a little bit younger at this point.
Yeah. Oh boy. Sorry, something just moved again there. I'm liking this. All right, let's go to the Sunday night game. Battle of
Okay.
the young guns here. Bears going to Houston. I
Um,
I feel like this game is either going to be awesome or it's going to get really ugly really quick.
do you want my honest opinion?
Yes.
It's going to be an ugly game. I think Houston's going to jump down and throw it immediately, and the Bears aren't ready for it. I mean, you saw it last week with Tennessee. Difference is Texans are a much better team, have a better
Yeah, that's
quarterback,
true.
have better weapons, and the defense is better than what Tennessee has. So
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, this is a tough spot for Caleb. I think
yeah,
there still is. I'm giving him a puncher's chance, regardless here. Just bounce back kind of game. and hopefully they can get something going early for him. Like if they win the
Yeah,
toss, just get him an easy drive, let him get a little comfortable, a few throws under his belt, and then kind of see how he reacts after that. Um, but yeah, this could get messy. I mean, I think the Bears defense is still going to hold up as
okay.
best they can with Houston, but at some point, I am just worried that Texans are kind of going to get into a groove there and just be able to just move the ball. Not
Yeah,
necessarily at will, but they'll have a long drive in there somewhere that just eats up too much clock, and then puts the Bears in a weird spot where they're kind of scrambling a little bit.
100%.
Well, um, damn, we're moving a lot better than we normally do here. All right, let's go Falcons Eagles. uh, last standalone game here. I'm curious about this. The line's pretty big right now.
What's it at?
6.5.
Ooh.
The Eagles favored right now.
Um,
It's a
I
tough
guess it
spot because
depends.
Eagles home opener. Like that place is going to be rocking. Um, these, I mean, they're just loud and crazy. This fan base for sure.
Yeah.
So I do want to see how Kirk reacts to that. Um, sorry, but I feel like this game is Eagles just don't really put people away.
No, I mean, you saw it last week. They were beating up on Green Bay the majority of the game, and Green Bay just kept hanging in there, hanging in there,
Yeah,
hanging in there. And still, that was the reason Jordan Love was out there with 6 seconds left to throw up a Hail Mary because the game wasn't necessarily over yet. So, I mean, I guess it depends on if Atlanta can really come together this week and show that they are what they're projected to be and not just paper warriors where they look very good, but when they put it on the field, it just doesn't equate. So we'll
yeah. I
see.
think if the Falcons O line can just hold up enough, just make
Yeah.
Kirk comfortable. You don't even have to give him obviously not a ton of time, but just enough to kind of get into a rhythm early. They're not seeing T.J. Watt and Cam
No,
Hayward
they're not. That
coming up the
so
middle
they're
here.
they're
That's going to
they're
help them a
seeing a
lot.
slightly worse defensive line. It's still very good, but
Yeah,
you're not having an all pro in your face for 90 minutes, 60
right,
minutes,
right.
whatever
Yeah, they're
it
not going
is.
to get punched in the mouth right away the same way that they did last week. So if they can
Yeah.
hold up just enough, I think Kirk's going to be able to move the ball, and they're going to look a lot better on offense this week. Um, Especially Eagles secondary still not great. Like I don't
Yeah.
think it's as bad as it was last year. I think they did look better outside of like I said, we talked about those chunk plays.
Jaden Reed.
Um,
Yeah.
exactly, yeah. Um, but it's still not like it's like a top five secondary by
No.
any stretch of the imagination.
No.
They
No.
just and yeah, they just need to be good enough. But I think Kirk might be able to pick them apart a little bit and just
Hmm.
move the ball. I mean, rough for the Falcons to start 0-2 here, but I don't
Yeah.
I don't love this spot for them
No, no,
at
I
all.
don't either. It's a tough game. Um, and if Tampa keeps doing what they did last week, got a hill to fight.
Yeah, I mean they're only Falcons' only saving grace right now is that Bucks are going to Detroit
Hmm.
and doing that with missing half of their secondary at this point.
Yeah. So
So I
I
mean,
mean,
looking at 0-2 in that division,
yeah, it
the
helps that
division
they're
that
in
again we
a
talked about
not
too. There's
great
so much
division.
pressure on them to win that division. Like it's
Yeah.
win that division or bust at this point. Uh,
Exactly.
yeah, but don't love starting out 0-2. Um, let's hit our teams just for the fun of it here.
Just for the fun of it. Okay.
So Ravens home opener against the Raiders here. Um, I
What's
like
that line
this.
set at? Is it
Eight and
like
a
a
half right
million?
now. This is
That, that,
that was, I mean, totally a stay away
that
game for me because Ravens can be weird sometimes with stuff and
What's fair?
let a team like that in it. But I do feel like this is just a get right game. Uh, Tough loss. They're going to be angry. Got a longer week to kind of process everything there. I, I hope this is on for me. I want to see
Yeah.
if Lamar is going to be consistently like the guy that's going to throw for 250 and run for 70 this year. Because if he does that again, I mean,
I'm
like we're getting crazy with Lamar at this point. Just his
yeah.
abilities,
I mean, it
but
is the week to do that. This is a make or break week. You're going up against a weaker defense as a whole. Yeah, they have a nice front, but their secondary's never been stable. So if he's going to hit that 250 mark, this is the week to do it. And they just have to open up that run game, which is what they kind of forgot about last week against the Chiefs. So as
yeah,
long as they keep doing that,
they didn't
I
necessarily
don't forget
forget
about it.
about it. That was the whole thing. And like I had said to you before, and I think we even talked about it on here, is like I don't think Derrick Henry was ever going to get 20 touches.
No, and I don't
Like you're
expect a
just
30-year-old
preserving him.
running
He's
back to do
older.
that.
Exactly. And then
Yeah.
I mean I don't love it right now with just Justice Hill back there. Um, it'll look much better when Mitchell gets back.
Keep
But
Mitchell. Yeah.
yeah, that and I'd like to see them get Bateman involved a little bit more this week too. Just to kind of give him a good game.
Yeah.
Just let him because I mean the dude's
That's
good.
definitely the
They just
goal is to have Bateman actually perform. He's a
I
great
know like
athlete.
the dude
He can
yeah
he can
separates
make
well.
plays. It's just
They just don't give him enough
there's just been
targets.
something missing that you can't really put your finger on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, maybe his route running's not up to speed, but what are you
I don't
gonna
know.
do?
It's just, again, I'm just happy we got through week one and he's not hurt yet.
Yeah. Did you see what? Speaking of the Raiders, did you see what Tay posted this morning?
No.
Devontae. He posted, I guess, on his Instagram story, like a peace out, walking off the field. Just to drum
Yeah.
up some more crazy. So that'll be fun to
Well,
watch going into the
I
weekend.
mean, he can just stay in Baltimore. He doesn't have to get back on that flight. I'll be happy with that. Let's get another weapon
Yeah,
here that we're going to use. Another aging weapon that we can use sparingly. I'll take it.
that's definitely what you guys need. Yeah,
Hell yeah. I mean, we've done that so many times. Steve Smith, Anquan Bolden.
yeah.
But, all right, let's jump down to your Stillers.
Um,
4 o'clock game
yeah.
here.
I hate this. I think this is going to be the ugliest game of the week. I'm going to be honest. I'll talk about it here in a little bit. I do think the defense does just dominate for week two again continuously. I think if I read it correctly, Denver allowed the most pass rush win rate last week at like 46%. So I expect that to only get worse for them with 2 game records on the outside. So I expect a few sacks, to say the least, against a rookie quarterback who at times struggled last week. So a lot of big plays are going to happen on the defense side of the ball, set up the offense. I don't think it really matters who's going to be quarterbacking this team, whether it's Russ or Fields. I know that's a big question mark this week. They said they're preparing for Fields to be the starter. Just they said that in the way in case Russ isn't healthy, not because they don't want Russ to quarterback the team. I know a lot of people took that out of context this week. But I don't really care either way.
Yeah, that's fair enough. This is just the one stat I saw earlier with the Steelers in this spot here. So Mike Tomlin is 4-5 against the Broncos in his career. 1-5 when he has to go to Denver. However, he's
Interesting.
24-6 against rookie quarterbacks.
Rookie quarterbacks. Yeah, that was the stat I
That's
saw.
the kicker there for sure.
Quarterbacks.
However,
Yeah.
my only questions with this are you going to get that Justin Fields performance again? A clean Justin Fields performance? And if Russell Wilson plays back in Denver, I don't think you can put him on the field. I think it's going to get real loud there, and it's going to get real sloppy. So this is like a weird game.
Yeah,
I am
definitely
still
is.
undecided on this. This would be a good teaser bet, honestly. So it's at 2.5 right now. Take a 6 point teaser. Take the Broncos up to 8.5. I think they covered that. Um,
Yeah, it's fair.
there's just this is a weird one where all
Yeah,
signs point to Steelers win going away, but it's just they get they're always weird when they go out west, just across the board
it's
for
it's
whatever
it's
reason.
them. It's always Denver. It's always the Raiders. They always
Yeah,
lose when they go to the Raiders. They play them
yeah, it
at
makes no
home.
sense.
I don't know if they play them this year actually, but
I think
it's when they
they
go
probably
there.
do, but I think they probably get them at home.
Yeah, when they go to Vegas or it was Oakland, just I would always just chalk that up to an immediate loss. It
Yeah, never
hilariously
makes any
enough.
sense. They're so weird when they go out west.
Yeah, and that's just how it's
Um,
been. I can't really understand it.
yeah. Any other weird games that we like here?
No, I hate all these games
I
this
was gonna
week.
say, yeah, and this is a weird slate.
It's all like good teams against
The Rams
potentially good
Cardinals game should
teams,
just be
or
fun.
yeah, that'll be a good game. Um,
Should be a lot of
we can
points
talk
there.
we can talk on that briefly. Puka's out, like we said last episode, for at least the next 4 weeks. So Rams are gonna struggle probably a bit offensively. They're down Steve Avila, so their offensive line dinged up a bit. And
Yeah.
honestly, they still have question marks on that defense side of the ball. I'm gonna talk about it here in a couple minutes, but Cardinals are probably gonna put up some points again this week. So Rams are gonna have to
Uh,
really feed Cup heavy and get Kyron involved a little bit more than they did last week if they
yeah,
want to
I
win this game. It's gonna be tough for them. It's not gonna be an easy one.
yeah. Cardinals are currently favored, but I do like the Rams in this spot
Yeah, I
still
mean,
because I mean Stafford's gonna have to get rid of the ball quick, but I
yeah,
trust him to do that because he was brilliant in the second half on Sunday night doing that, and Cup is just sure-handed. There's not going to be.
for
I mean,
sure.
they're gonna not going to have anybody covering him.
Yeah,
They'll still be able to move the ball. Williams is going to be active. Um, I think this one really just comes down to just a trust thing. Cardinals, I think, are going to find a way to kind of give this away at the end in some fashion. Just
that's fair.
youth, and
Definitely
that
fair.
defense is going to make a boneheaded play. I feel like at some point, and Rams, you know, losing week one in a game that they kind of outplayed the Lions. I think they're going to be. This is a spot where McVay, Stafford, they're going to have the boys ready, and they know they need to win this one here.
Yeah, I agree. I think they should win the game, but I expect another tight one for the Rams
Yeah,
and the Cardinals. I,
gotcha. All right, let's do some fantasy here real quick.
you want to go fantasy first? All right.
Yeah, let's do fantasy first.
All right. So let's start with the guys I like. Guys I like this week are Jahmyr Gibbs against Tampa. He split a lot of touches last week with Demont. That was pretty evident. Demont really carried that team in the second half and definitely in OT. But I feel like it's going to go Gibbs' way this week, just kind of based on past analytics with how they split. And Tampa's front seven isn't as good as it once was. Wasn't as good as it was last year, especially without Shaq Barrett. So I expect Gibbs to see a heavy workload this week. I like Ayuk against Minnesota. Minnesota doesn't really have a number one corner, and Ayuk now a week into this system again, warming up. I think he's gonna just bounce back and have a pretty big week. Jaden Daniels against the Giants. This is 2 weeks in a row he's on this list. I don't really need to say a lot if you watched the Giants play last week and watch what Sam Darnold did to that defense. I have Slant Boy 2.0 on this week against Cincy. I already talked about him a little bit. Rashid Rice. He went out there last week. He proved, regardless of who they brought in, what they want to do. Mahomes still loves him. He's going to hit him heavy and often, pepper him with targets. And since he doesn't have the best secondary, so I expect him to have another 100-yard game.
Yeah, he might just
My
eat
tight end
just a lot
is,
of catches in this game.
he's just going to get peppered. It's going to be like 10
Yeah,
catches, 110 yards. He might get a touchdown.
yeah,
Evan Ingram, I expect him to really bounce back this week. Almost every tight end had a bad week last week, if you want to look at it. So I expect Trevor Lawrence to lean on him a little bit to really ensure that they win this game this week. Probably my favorite pick this week is James Conner against the Rams. Like I said, that front seven for the Rams is dinged up. And without AD, they don't look the same. They're not getting that pressure they did. And offensive lines are able to scheme it better where they don't have to force all their focus on Aaron Donald.
yeah. He
So
had
I
a
expect James Conner to
pretty good
really
week last week
bump
too,
out.
didn't he?
Yeah, and that was against the Bills front seven, who's not too bad. So I expect a pretty
Yeah,
big week
I
for James.
gotta look that up here real quick because I think just like kind of watching highlights of that one, like you kind of. Oh, hold on.
No, you're good. I got it. I got it right here.
Yeah, no, sorry. I just I was really curious about that.
Yeah. So James,
Actually, not as
James
big as
had
I thought it was, but
yeah, he had 50 yards and a touchdown. He had 3 catches though for 33 yards. So if you play in
yeah, I mean,
PPR,
83
which
total
most
yards
people
for a
do,
guy that's kind of
he
just
had a
been
really
like
nice week.
there. I mean, he's a really consistent guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, sorry.
Yeah, and he always warms up. He gets better as the season goes. No, you're good. You're good. I like bouncing back. He gets better as the year goes on. So tends to start off a little slow, but getting a weaker front seven to start the season, I really expect him to have this weekend. All right, and then some guys that I just straight up don't like. Um, anybody in the Steelers Broncos game, I hate this week. Absolutely hate. Broncos running backs last week looked abysmal, and now they're playing probably one of the best front sevens in the NFL. That's not
Yeah.
nice. Steelers secondary isn't awful either. So you're tossing their Cortland Sutton and nobody else really. Bo Nix, he's gonna have a tough game. So, and then on the flip
It's gonna be
side,
an
you don't
ugly
know who
game.
this. Yeah, on the flip side, you don't know who the Steelers starting quarterback is, and then Surtain is gonna be on George Pickens like white on rice. It's gonna be a tight one there. And outside of Pickens, there is no other pass catcher. And then I don't know who's going to be the lead back this week. They used Najee heavily last week, but are they going to flip it back to Warren? Or is Cordarrelle Patterson going to get some looks? I truly don't know, and that's not something I'm willing to bet on. I don't love Olave going against Trayvon Diggs this week and the Cowboys. Trayvon came out after he was out all last season, and he just proved that he's still a very good cornerback. He allowed, I think it was like 1 catch for 10 yards in the entirety of the game last week.
I wouldn't read too much into that because, Deshaun Watson.
That's also true. It's very true. But no, I still don't love Olave for this week. And plus, he didn't get used heavily last week with Derek Carr. The ball was spread out quite a bit. So we'll see. I don't love Ramondre against Seahawks. Kind of going back, touching on it again. Seahawks held the Broncos running back specifically to just 64 yards on the ground. I think Ramondre had a nice week 1 match against the Bengals front seven. I don't think that's going to continue this week. I think he's going to be the focus and make the Patriots pass the ball, and that's obviously not where they're strongest at right now. And then Dalton Schultz against the Bears, he just felt left out. I think I misread it a little bit as to which player was left out in that passing offense in Houston. And it looked like Dalton week 1. So until I see him bounce back up to what he was last year, I'm not going to bet my money on him right now. This is probably the surprising one is Herbert versus the Panthers because it's against the Panthers.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
it's not because of Herbert's a bad quarterback. I just think we saw what Jim Harbaugh wants to do. It's run the ball. They're going to be up early. They're not going to be throwing that ball often. So if you want the fantasy points, I wouldn't play him. just play it safe until they really start airing it out or have to.
Yeah, I think Herbert is just kind of be all year just a lower production guy, but it's going to be really efficient.
Yeah,
You're just going to see that with him.
yeah,
Uh,
for
I
sure. It's just
unless they
I don't know.
absolutely need to lean on him, like when they go to Arrowhead, whenever that is.
Yeah,
I'm not sure what week that is, but I think that's going to be the only time you're really going to see Harbaugh let him sling it a little bit, just because at
yeah,
some point they're going to have to.
yeah, for sure. And then last group I have on here is any running back that the Dolphins run out this week tonight. I don't know who it's going to be. Mostert's out. 18 still questionable, and none of their running backs had more than 30 yards last week on the ground. I think, like we already talked about, it's going to be a passing raid all day long for Miami. That's how they're going to stay in this game. They're not running the ball. So we'll see if they switch it up a little bit. Maybe get their rookie in there, Jalen Wright, I do believe,
Yeah,
and
the
see what
Jalen Wright,
happens.
Jeff Wilson stuff is really confusing.
I don't know what to buy. I'm not gonna bet money on it, clearly, but
Yeah,
we'll see what happens. But I'm just not going to be playing any running backs out of that Miami backfield this week.
that's fair. Yeah, I think I took stock in Jeff Wilson in one just in case because of just depending on what my other options were at different spots
Yeah,
there.
that's
But I
definitely
think
fair.
in one league, I think I have both Wright and Wilson, and I'm like, I think they're both just going to end up on my bench no matter what.
Yeah, it's just the safest play. But if you want to take a long shot, it's always fun.
Yeah, that's true. All right, on to the gambling part of this here. So I'm going to start with my favorite bet of the week, and this line it keeps moving, and I'm not getting it. Uh, Niners -5. This it already moved a half point since we started. Um,
Jeez.
this started at I think 6.5 or 7, and it keeps getting bet down. This is just as happy as I am for Sam Darnold last week. This is just a massive overvaluing of the Vikings, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Oh. Oh yeah.
Yes, they're going to Minnesota, and that place is loud. That defense is still questionable. Brian Flores had them looking good last week, but again, that's Daniel Jones. There's just not enough talent on that defense for me to feel good about it. And when the Niners get rolling, like they roll. I don't. This is at least a touchdown game for me. Yeah, I'm going to be hammering that one for sure. It just blows my mind how much money is coming in on the other side of that to kind of bet this game down. So I would say too, check it again on Sunday and see if you can get it at an even better number. But right now, I'm getting it at 5. Um, we'll go to tonight's game. This one too keeps kind of going up a little bit with the Bills there. I think I saw it open at like 1.5. They got bet up to 2. It's up to 2.5 now. I'm taking the Bills plus 2.5. We went through it already. This Bills come to play when they play Miami. I like this spot for them for sure. Regardless, it's going to be a lot of points, but I don't see how. I just don't see the Bills losing this game in any stretch. There, like I maybe on a last second touchdown, but like at that point too, it's probably a 6 point game or something like that. Like I like the Bills to win outright and obviously cover that number. Um,
Yeah.
Another one that I really like, and it's kind of been going down too. Again, it moved a half point again since we started this. Uh, Colts -2.5 against Green Bay this week. There is a little bit of concern on my end, just for the sake of Anthony Richardson is such a wild card. And he's going to Green Bay for this. However, no Jordan Love. They're rolling out Malik Willis. I don't know how they're going to move the ball, really. I mean, it's going to be
Yeah.
really Josh Jacobs heavy, and Colts defense is good enough to at least manage that.
Yeah, I agree.
Jacobs could have a really big day, but I think I don't see him having a big enough day um, for them to win that game. And Malik Willis, like if he's got to throw at any point in time in that game, like there there's real questions about what he can do and if they're going to be able to move the ball at all with him, regardless of
100%.
weapons and everything like that. So I really like the Colts in that spot. And again, too, it's moving in that favor. So again, you might be able to get it at a better number come Sunday. But yeah, again, right now -2.5. I like that a lot, actually.
Hmm.
Um,
I agree.
another overvaluing game. Seahawks are only -3.5 to going to the Patriots this week. Again, I think this is just a massive overvaluing on the Patriots just because they beat the Bengals. Christian Gonzalez looks
Yeah,
fantastic, limiting Chase's chances, but he's not going to be able to do that against Metcalf, Lockett, and JSN.
Jason.
Like, whoever he takes, the other two are going to be open in some facet. Um, run game is a little questionable for the Seahawks right now, but I don't think they're going to need it. And also, like, if they can get to 20, 21 in this game, I like them to cover. I don't like
I
their
agree.
defense is much better than the Bengals is right now. And Pats put up, what was it, 16 last week? Yeah, they won 16-10, I think.
Yeah, it wasn't high. It wasn't a high scoring game at all.
Exactly. Like, I think the number is can you get to 20 in this if you're the Seahawks? And
Yeah,
I, I don't see them giving up more than 13.
yeah.
So I like the Seahawks in this spot there. And then the last one, honestly, basically a pick 'em at this point, but I like the Rams at +1.5. I don't see how they let themselves lose this game unless something drastic happens, meaning like Stafford goes down at some point in this game. Um, yeah, we already kind of touched on this game there. Like, I think the Rams are desperate enough. They don't want to let Niners get a 2-game lead on them right out of the gate to win that division. Like, I think they're going to be hunting for a win and moving the ball well. And the defense, again, it's still question, but it's still young, and it's not as bad as people think.
No, it's
Again,
not.
I mean, they held uh, Detroit to what was it, 26 in that game, and outside of that drive in overtime, like they looked really solid, kind of containing everything in that. Um, but yeah, there's too much I like about the Rams in this spot, regardless of the injuries. That I'm going to be playing that one. And then, kind of while you were doing the fantasy thing there, popped into my head when I said about the Rams as a teasing number. So I kind of looked at this here, or
No.
the Broncos as a teasing number. I got a little 3-team 6-point teaser parlay here. So we're taking the Cowboys down to just an even line on that. Rams from 1.5 up to 7.5, and then the Broncos from 2.5 up to 8.5. And that's +160. And I like that a lot. Like, I think the Cowboys roll this week. The only reason it's not in my 5 is just on the off chance that the Saints did figure something out a little bit there, and just kind of backdoor cover at that 6 number. But I'm definitely leaning Cowboys probably end up running away with this at some point. But
Yeah.
them at even, just taking them as a pick 'em there. I don't think Cowboys lose this game at all. Uh, I don't think there's going to be enough points scored in the Broncos Steelers game for anybody to cover 8.5, or for the Broncos
Yeah,
not to
that's
cover 8.5 points there.
it's
Like,
safe
I
bet.
mean,
Safe bet.
this has 13-10 written all over it. I'm just
Yeah, it's
curious
kind of
actually now.
like
I just want to look at that total. Yeah, the
this
over
this
under
guy.
is set at 36.5 right now. It
Yeah,
is far and away Oh no, Seahawks Pats is at 38.5 too, but you know,
That's crazy.
yeah, but 36.5. It's the lowest point total of the week. Um, but again, I mean, hell, I'd take under 28.5 at this point. I just see, I don't see a world
Yeah.
where there's enough points getting scored there. And like we just talked about too, like Pittsburgh was weird when they go out west. Like they get funky
Hmm.
out there, and there's always a chance that they just kind of give one away when they go play a lesser team in the
Yeah.
AFC
Yeah.
West.
Fair. I'm not mad about it.
Yeah. All right. I think that's
You
about
got
all we
anything
had there.
else?
No, I think we
Wow.
covered everything we needed to here. Nice little quick, easy. Man, I'm looking at these other games, and I'm not seeing a lot. It's a weird week.
Yeah, it's definitely a weird week. I don't even want to try to predict anything that's going to happen. It's going to be one of those. I mean, we saw what happened in week one. Week two tends to kind of sort of correct itself. Week
Yeah.
three, you'll get a couple more curveballs, and by week four and five, you'll have a better understanding.
Oh, for
So
sure.
we'll just try to right the ship as we go, cut our losses, and I'll always admit when I'm wrong.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, again, I will take the L on the Panthers there last week.
Yeah, I think we all will.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. But, I don't know, it'll be fun come draft time. With them.
Oh yeah, too.
All right.
It'll be interesting.
Cool.
We'll get into the draft stuff later. Maybe we'll
Oh,
do
yeah.
a mock draft here in a couple weeks, and we'll kind of
Way
discuss
too
things.
early
I know
mock,
I'm bigger
just
in
for
the
fun, just to eat some time.
yeah. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I know a lot of college players already, so I could do a full round.
Yeah, I have to check up on a little bit there.
Yeah, I'm a bit of
All
a
right, let's get out of
degenerate,
here.
but
We
it's
gotta
okay.
finally got one short and sweet.
We'll learn that. Yeah. All right, you
Cool.
go to bed, and I'm gonna go get tan.
There you go. It's a good plan. All right, let's get out of here.
All right.